Waterford, California. Making their way into the ring for your Northern Show ring is still our ROV Angus show. This is Class 12. Class 12 has 3 entries slated for it. We have entries 3065 from Hilltop Angus Ranch of Denton, Montana, Caitlin Lee Poser of Denton, Montana. We have entry 3067 comes from Samantha Podsmick of Mitchell, South Dakota, and entry 3068 from the DLX LLC of Baker City, Oregon. These are the 3 entries that are slated for Class 12. We welcome over in our Southern Show ring our Shorthorn show. We have in the ring our National Shorthorn Plus show. We have class number 1. These are early spring bull calves. We have 2 entries slated for this class. 4822 comes from Curtis Genetics of Dunlap, Iowa. And 4823 comes from Hearts and Diamond Cattle Company of Warden, Montana. These 2 entries are the only entries within the class and the only class in the division, so first and second will become your champion and reserve champion spring bull calves. Your results coming in for class number 12 on your Angus ROV side. Second place entry 3068 from DLX LLC of Baker City, Oregon. And your class winner entry 3065 from Hilltop Angus and Caitlin Lee Poser of Denton, Montana. At this time within our Angus show, we will bring back our class winners from 10, 11, and 12. Our judge, Mr. Jake Scott, will select your champion and reserve champion junior yearling bulls.
Well, good morning. It's indeed a pleasure to be back in the National Western and to be in the old historic ring. I think we've got a really nice pair of Shorthorn Plus bulls. Just have two in the show, so they'll be our champion, our reserve. There's some give and take in the two. I'd like to tamp down the birth weight on this front bull, but I think if you study the two calves, we're going to use him for our champion. He's just a little stouter, a little heavier muscled, and you get him out on the move. I like the length of stride he has. I like the way he lays into his shoulder. He's probably not quite as level from his hooks to his pins as the Red Bull that comes behind, but he's just a little more stout, a little more massive to him, a little more muscle that goes through there, and just a little more growth. Tremendously good Red Bull that when you send him on the side profile, I actually like the way he puts these together to his top line and the balance that he shows. He's just not quite as much to him, and I like to change the way he comes off behind. But congratulations to these two bulls for our champion, reserve champion, Shorthorn Plus bull.
Your results coming in from your Shorthorn Plus show from class number 1. Second place, your reserve champion spring bull calf, and your reserve grand champion Shorthorn bull is entry 4823 from Hearts and Diamond Cattle Company of Warden, Montana. Your first place, your champion spring bull calf, and your grand champion Shorthorn Plus bull is entry 4822 from Curtis Genetics of Dunlap, Iowa. At this time, we will take a picture break at the backdrop with our Shorthorn show, and we will get started up with our heifer classes momentarily. Your champion junior yearling bull comes from class 11. That is entry 3063, owned by David and Steph Dickerson, Griswold Cattle, and Rocking W. Angus. Your reserve champion junior yearling bull comes from class number 10. That is entry 3059 from Zane Baragri. Back over to your Shorthorn Plus show. We now have in the ring class number 1. These are going to be our Shorthorn Plus female category. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, doing pictures. Over in your Angus show, we have in the ring class 13. Within class 13, we have a single entry. We have entry 3069, comes from Clayton Hester of New Sharon, Iowa, and Double C Stock Farm, also from New Sharon, Iowa. Results for Class 13, first place, entry 3069 from Clayton Hester and Double C Stock Farm. We will clear out our Angus show ring and bring up Class 14. Class 14 will consist of 2 entries. Within Class 14, entries 3071 comes from Catherine Coleman of Modesto, California. And entry 3072 is owned by Hollinger Land and Cattle of Neudorf, Rafter D4 Cattle Company, and Circle F Farms and CSI Angus. Those are your 2 entries that will make up Class 14. Now making way into the Shorthorn show ring is going to be class number 1 of late spring heifer calves. Within this first class of our Shorthorn Plus female show, we have entries 4831 comes from Callaway Lorenzo of Sterling, Colorado, and 4832 from Julia Lyons of New Auburn, Wisconsin. Your results for Class 14 on your Angus side. Second place, 3071, comes from Catherine Coleman. And your class winner is entry 3072, which is owned by Hollinger Landed Cattle, Rafter D4 Cattle, and Circle F Farms and CSI Angus. Up next within our Angus show, we'll bring in Class 15. We have a single entry in Class 15. 3073 comes from Jeff Fruling and Austin Nowatzki. This is the last class within the division.
In our Shorthorn Plus ring, we just have the two heifers, and boy, you get them this young in June. I sometimes think we just let them loose and let them run would be better than trying to drag them out here in the ring. It's pretty hard to evaluate them, but I think as you study the pair, they're somewhat different. Their numbers are almost identical, so there really ain't anything on the paper to help you sort. But I guess to me, the one that's got more substance and rib and volume and capacity is the little girl's red heifer, and I'm going to start with her, and we'll come back with the roan heifer here in a second. It's a little hard to evaluate the female, but I think as you study her, when she does go out and move, she's wider base, she stands down straighter on those front legs, probably not as nice and long through her front as the heifer down here. Certainly a long-ribbed heifer up in front, but a heifer that's got just a little more total substance to her is the little girl's heifer. We're going to use her for first. We'll use second up here. Congratulations.
Results for Class 15 on your Angus side. First place, entry 3073, comes from Jeff Fruling and Austin Nowatzki. At this time, within our Angus show, we will bring back our class winners from classes 13, 14, and 15, and our judge will select your champion senior bulls. Over in your Shorthorn Plus show, your results coming in out of class number 1. Second place went to entry 4832 from Julia Lyons, and your class winner was entry 4831 from Callaway Lorenzo. In the ring at this time now is going to be class number 2 of late spring heifer calves. Within class 2, we have entries 4834 from Taven Locke of Sterling, Colorado, 4835 from Julia Lyons of New Auburn, Wisconsin, and 4836 comes from J.C. Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. Your judge for the Open Shorthorn show is Mr. Dr. Dave Nichols. He's native born to Brookston, Indiana. He graduated from Purdue University. While at Purdue, he was a member of Dr. Roger Hunsley's livestock judging team. After graduation, Dr. Nichols moved west to Kansas State, where he completed his master's and PhD. He was a longtime faculty member at Kansas State, where he taught courses in beef production, livestock evaluation, introductory animal science, and coached the judging team. He recently retired from teaching and now is building a consultant firm for the construction of a new livestock arena north of the campus. Dr. Nichols has judged many of the major shows and state fairs, including the Shorthorn Junior Nationals. He owns and operates A&D Angus Ranch, which produces registered Angus seed stock. He and his wife, Anita, have 2 grown children and 1 granddaughter, Madeline, who loves to help Grandpa feed the cows. We appreciate Dr. Dave Nichols judging the Shorthorn show. Your champion senior bull is entry 3073 from Jeff Fruling and Austin Nowatzki. And your reserve champion senior bull is entry 3072 from Hollinger Land Cattle and Rafter D4 Cattle and Circle F Farms.
In our Shorthorn Ring Plus, we've got a really nice female to lead this off. I think she wins this extremely easily. Side view, beautiful pattern, beautiful balance. Just love the way she's extremely long made, extremely correct in her feet and legs. You get her out on the move, you really like this female. She's got a fair amount of rib to her, got a real long feminine neck to her. Just, I think, a really good one. I appreciate a great deal. Second and third is where it gets closer. The little roan heifer here in the middle, kind of like to change her about her head a little bit. She gets a little short in those dimensions. But as you analyze the female, she's wider from her base. She's wider from her front to back. And I guess if you just study this female, there's more muscle in her. Big long-bodied heifer that comes here in third is a heifer that just gets a little narrow as she goes away from you and wants to toe out just a bit through the front. Three nice Shorthorn Plus females.
Over in your Angus show ring, we now have our grand champion drive for our champion ROV Angus bull. From your first division, your champion summer bull calf comes from Lakeview Angus of Meade, Colorado. Your second division champions of your junior bull calves is entry 3019 from Lazy JB Angus of Montrose, Colorado. The reserve from that division is entry 3025 from Chestnut Angus Farms. In your third division, your champion senior bulls of the bull calf category, champion entry 3043 from Zachary McCall of Greenville, Virginia. The reserve being entry 3046 from Thummel Angus. Your fourth division, which is your intermediate bulls, your champion 3052 from Doug Satry Angus of Montague, Texas. Your fifth division, your champion junior yearling bull, is entry 3063 from David and Steph Dickerson, Griswold Cattle Company, and Rocking W. Angus. The reserve comes from entry 3059 from Zane Baragry. And your champion senior bulls, and that's your sixth division, champion 3073 comes from Jeff Fruling and Austin Nowatzki. The reserve being from entry 3072, which is owned by Hollinger Land and Cattle, Rafter D4 Cattle, and Circle F Farms and CSI Angus.
In our Shorthorn Plus ring, we've got our first division champion out here with these two class winners that we have up front, and I think it's extremely easy. I think if you look at the female that won the last class, here's a heifer I really like a great deal the young lady's brought out. She's nice pattern, she's long-bodied, she's very correct in her feet and legs, got enough muscle, still looks like a cow. I really like her. She'll be our champion for our division. Reserve gets a little closer between the spotted heifer behind and the little red heifer. I think there's a lot of good in this little red heifer, and so I'm going to go ahead and tie her in for reserve. She's just a June. I think if you do get her out and watch her, the pieces and parts she has together, I just think there's a little more rib and a little more balance to her. So our champion will be here. The little girl's heifer will be reserved.
Well, I know we have a lot of
Your grand champion bull comes from your third division of senior bull calves. That is entry 3043 from Zachary McCall of Greenville, Virginia. Your reserve grand champion also comes from the same division of senior bull calves. That is entry 3046 from Thummel Angus of Sheridan, Missouri. Congratulations to our Angus exhibitors.
We just have a single entry in this class in our Shorthorn heifer. Certainly a nice numbered heifer. You study there's out here on the paper, a lot of calving ease in this heifer, long-bodied, long-ribbed kind of a heifer that's long through her hip and through her rump. Gets a little plainer through her front end, and I'd sure like to change the way she sits down on the front end. She kind of wants to toe out here just a little bit more. I'd like to see her sit down just a little square and truer on those front legs as she get her out here. Congratulations.
Your results coming in from class number 5 of your Shorthorn show. In the Southern Show Ring, first place entry 4837 comes from Reese Locke of Sterling, Colorado. Making their way into the ring for Shorthorns would be class number 6. These are early spring heifer calves. We have 2 entries slated for class 6. 4840 comes from Brock Ruby of Howells, Nebraska. 4841 comes from Emily Schellenberg of Kingfisher, Oklahoma. These are the 2 entries that will make up class number 6 of your Shorthorns. Within our Angus ROV show, we have paused for pictures at the backdrop with our judge, Mr. Jake Scott. A reminder that the official photographers of the National Western is Legacy Livestock Imaging. No cell phone photography is allowed at the backdrop. Please allow Legacy Livestock Imaging to be the official photographers here at the National Western.
Two really nice females here in our Shorthorn Plus ring. Easy winner in the young lady's black heifer we have out here. Here's a female that puts an awful lot of good things together. She's a nice pattern, nice profile, nice balance kind of a female. You get her out on the move. I love the way she reaches and stretches and fills her track. I like the slope and the angle to her shoulder. She's a heifer that presents a really nice package. When we get to the heifer that gives the second heifer, gives up quite a bit in size to her. She does have some advantage in terms of her birth weight numbers, a little more calving ease to her, but she's just a heifer, not quite as much in growth performance to her.
Your results coming in for class number 6 of your Shorthorn Plus female show of early spring heifer calves. Second place entry 4840 goes to Brock Ruby of Howells, Nebraska. Your class winner entry 4841 from Emily Schellenberg of Kingfisher, Oklahoma. At this time, we will now bring back our class winners from 5 and 6. Our judge, Dr. Dave Nichols, will select your champion and reserve champion spring heifer calves. Making their way back from class number 5, first place, entry 4837 from Reese Locke of Sterling, Colorado. Making their way back from class number 6, which was just in the ring, first place, 4841 from Emily Schellenberg of Kingfisher, Oklahoma. These are your first place entries. In consideration for Dr. Dave Nichols to select your champion early spring heifers.
I'm extremely grateful for the chance to come and give my opinion, but I'll tell you folks, during some of these, there aren't real easy decisions. There's an easy decision for our champion in here. I think it's a little tougher when you start sorting on the reserve. The black heifer wins this going away. I mean, really a nice female that's got a tremendous amount of rib and body and volume. I love the structure on this heifer. For some, they'd say she has a little more neck and shoulder to her, but for me, with all the mass she has, that's fine. The seconds get a little tougher. I think when you start looking, it's kind of some give and take. And certainly the white heifer's got a little more performance, a little more growth to her. The red heifer, not quite as much growth, but if you study her feet and legs and study her from the ground up, she is sounder in terms of how she sets down on her front end. We'll use the boys' roan heifer for our reserve for this division.
Your champion early spring Shorthorn Plus heifer is entry 4841 from Emily Schellenberg. Your reserve champion also comes from the same class. That is entry 4840 from Brock Ruby. In the ring now for your Shorthorns is now class number 9. These are junior heifer calves. We have entries 4843 from Eisenhower Cattle Company of Wellfleet, Nebraska, and entry 4844 from Reese Locke of Sterling, Colorado. These are the two entries that make up your class number 9.
pair of February heifers here in the Shorthorn Plus ring, and I'm going to go ahead and use the young lady's black heifer in the back. It's a little closer than initially you think. I think as you analyze this female, there's quite a bit more to her, and she reaches off of both ends. I'd like to change a couple things about her. She's just a little shorter bodied. Part of that is she's really deep rib and kind of gives you some of that illusion that she'd be a little shorter. The other thing is she gets a little weak in her loin, and so her whole pin's tail head gets up a little higher than I'd like. But certainly I think a pretty good female that's got a lot of muscle working in her and presents a pretty nice side view balance. Now the young man's heifer that comes in second, no question the longest rib female we've seen out here today. She's extremely strong and straight in her top. A female I like a great deal about that, but I think as you analyze her, I'd like to change the slope to her shoulders. She lays in pretty straight there, and then when you watch her and she moves off those hind legs, just a little shorter strided than I'd like to have, but certainly a nice pair of females in this class.
Your results for class number 9 of junior Shorthorn Plus heifers. Second place, 48-43, comes from Eisenhower Cattle Company of Wellfleet, Nebraska. Your class winner, 48-44, comes from Reese Locke of Sterling, Colorado. Making their way into the ring is now class number 10. This is the last class within the division of junior heifer calves. We have 2 entries. 48-45 comes from Brock Ruby of Howells, Nebraska. And 48-46 comes from J.C. Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. These are the 2 entries that make up your last class of junior heifers.
We get in these January heifer calves, I think, again, an easy placing in the young lady's red heifer. Here's a really nice Shorthorn Plus female. I guess when you think about femininity, she may not be as stout and wide as some of the other ones we had, but when I talk about females and look at how they put themselves together, she just, to me, is extremely feminine in her makeup, nice slope to her shoulders. She gets out and reaches, extremely long-bodied, adequate in her muscle, not the heaviest muscled in the class. The young man's blue roan heifer beats her in that regard. But I think if you study this female, watch her when she gets her set up, very, very nice female, very nice balanced kind of a heifer that we have out here. McFlurry is in the tag of this young man's heifer here, this blue roan, and a nice female, got a lot of bone, got a lot of muscle. I don't read her quite as feminine in her overall design, just a little coarse in her makeup, but I sure appreciate her bringing her out. Thank you.
Your results for class number 10 of junior Shorthorns. Second place, 48-45 from Brock Ruby of Howells, Nebraska. Class winner, 48-46 from J.C. Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. At this time, within our Shorthorn Plus show, we will bring back our class winners from classes 9 and 10. Our judge, Dr. Dave Nichols, will select your champion and reserve champion junior heifer calves. And we'd like to welcome back our Angus exhibitors. We have started now with our cow-calf pair category within our Angus show. This will be class number 16. Class 16 has a single entry. 3079 comes from Garrett Green of Powell Butte, Oregon. This is the only entry in the class, the only class in the division. First place within class 16 will become your champion cow-calf pair. Your champion cow-calf pair for the 2025 National Western Stock Show's Angus ROV show is entry 3079 from Garrett Green of Powell Butte, Oregon. At this time, we will take a quick picture with our judge at the backdrop, I believe. I leave that open-ended as a question. I don't know if we're doing that yet. But if we're not, we're going to move right into our Class 17 of females. That'll be up next.
I've already talked about these females in the class, and I think you kind of see what we talked about when we got them back out here. I think a nice pair of females, some differences to them, probably a little more depth of rib, a little more spring rib in the black heifer, a little more shoulder and front end on her, makes her appear a little shorter. Young lady's got the red heifer stretched pretty far right now and doesn't make her quite as attractive. But when you get her set up and get her hind legs underneath her a little bit and get her out to go, to me the femininity that she has and the length that she has and the stride and the flexibility has goes to the advantage here. We'll use the red heifer. We're going to come back to use this black heifer in front of her for reserve. Congratulations, girls.
Your champion junior Shorthorn Plus heifer calf comes from class number 10. That is entry 4846 from J.C. Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. Your reserve champion junior heifer calf comes from class number 9. That is entry 4844 coming from Reese Locke of Sterling, Colorado. Up next within our Shorthorn show will be class number 13. This is our senior heifer calf division. We will have in class 13 a single entry. Entry 4848 comes from Bianca Wood of McCook, Nebraska. This is the only entry in the class, the only class in the division. First place in class 13 becomes your champion senior heifer calf.
I guess this finishes up our Shorthorn Plus females, and we didn't have large numbers, but certainly we've had a lot of quality, and we end the show with a really nice female, a tremendously big-bodied, high-volume, deep-rib cow. I think as you study this female, she's got a ton of muscle to her. I guess as you analyze her out here on the ring, she does move extremely well. Probably gets her hind legs underneath her just a little bit, kind of drops her off from her hooks to her pins, but sound enough and certainly good enough. Appreciate the total width and mass and body volume that she has. Congratulations.
Your results for Class 13, first place, and your champion senior heifer calf, entry 4848, comes from Bianca Wood of McCook, Nebraska. Within our Shorthorn show, we will now bring back all of our division winners. Our judge, Dr. Dave Nichols, will select your champion and reserve grand champion, Shorthorn Plus females. From your first division, your champions, your late spring heifer calf division, champion 4836 from J.C. Stutzman. The reserve being 4831 from Callaway Lorenzo. Your second division, which is your early spring heifer calves, your champions 4841 from Emily Schillenberg. The reserve being 4840 from Brock Ruby. Your third division of junior heifer calves, your champion 4846 from J.C. Stutzman. The reserve being 4844 from Reese Locke. And your fourth and final division of senior heifer calves, your champion, entry 4848 from Bianca Wood. These are your division champions in consideration for Mr. Dr. Dave Nichols' selection of his grand and reserve grand champion Shorthorn Plus females. We welcome back our Angus exhibitors to the show ring. We have now our female category. We have Class 17. Within Class 17, we have entries 3084 from Callie Flood of Oakdale, California. 3085 comes from Spencer Allen Wright of Lebanon, Tennessee. And we have entry 3087 comes from Lazy JB Angus of Montrose, Colorado. These are your three entries that make up Class 17 on your Angus ROV show.
as we wind up our Shorthorn Plus female show. It's been a real pleasure to do this and give my opinions on these today. When you judge these shows, when you get small numbers, it's nice at the end if everything kind of looks the same, but that doesn't really happen when you have smaller numbers. So they don't quite fit the pattern as much as you'd like to see kind of the same type along the way. We just didn't have that in every class, and so I apologize that they just kind of aren't stamped alike. But I think you kind of sort out what you find the good and the bad and the best in one package. And I do think we do have a nice set of females out here. I think females that have got a tremendous amount of goodness to them in terms of their structure, the balance, the femininity we have, particularly in these 4 class winners. I think you could go a lot of different ways, kind of depends on some priorities you have. I see a lot of good in the heifers we have. I'm going to go out and pick our champions.
Your grand champion Shorthorn Plus female comes from your first division of spring heifer calves. That is entry 4836 from J.C. Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. Your reserve grand champion Shorthorn Plus female comes from your second division. That is your champion from the early spring heifer calf division. Entry 4841 from Emily Schillenberg of Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Congratulations to our Shorthorn exhibitors. At this time within our Shorthorn show, we will now pause for a picture break at the backdrop with Dr. Dave Nichols, and then we will bring right on to our purebred bull show. Now we'll hear from Mr. Jake Scott on our Angus side. Your results for Class 17 on your Angus show. Third place, entry 3085 from Spencer Allen Wright. Second place, 3084 from Callie Flood. And your class winner was entry 3087 from Lazy JB Angus of Montrose, Colorado. Making their way into the ring is now Class 18. Class 18 is one of our larger classes for today's show. We have within Class 18 entry 3088 from Michael Voloshin of Craig, Colorado. 3092 comes from Suter Clark of Gretna, Virginia. 3093 comes from Jasper Willis Clark of Lecompton, Kansas. 3098 comes from Garrett Green of Powell Butte, Oregon. 3099 comes from Tyler Kraft of Fort Collins, Colorado. 3102 comes from Madison Fisher of Hempstead, Texas. 3103 comes from McKenna Galloway of Springfield, Oregon. 3104 comes from Kay Bar D of Redmond, Oregon. 3105 comes from Hayden Riley Hahn of Rocky Ridge, Maryland. These are the entries that will make up your Class 18.
Our Shorthorn Plus ring, we start our purebred bull show with a nice bull calf. Certainly a bull that's got a lot of growth to him. I might want to make him a little bigger testicles. The other thing I'd like to tone down just a little bit is his birth weight number. He's on the upper end, I think, of where we need to be. But he is a calf that gets out here and moves really nice, flexible off his spine. He's like the way he's laid in off his shoulder, sloped to his front end. Really a pretty nice bull calf to lead this off.
Within your Angus show, your results coming in for Class 17. 7th place, McKenna Galloway. 6th place, Michael Voloshin. 5th place, Garrett Green. 4th place, Jasper Willis Clark. 3rd place went to Suter Clark. 2nd place, Madison Fisher. And your class winner was entry 3105 from Hayden Riley Hahn. In your Angus show at this time, we now have our 1st and 2nd place winners from classes 17 and 18. And our judge, Mr. Jake Scott, will select your champion and reserve champion summer heifer calves. Over within your Shorthorn show, we have moved on to our purebred bull show. We just had in the ring class number 1 of late spring bull calves. Your results from class number 1, first place, 4860, and your champion late spring bull calf was entry 4860 from Peakview Ranch Incorporated of Fowler, Colorado. In the ring at this time for our Shorthorns is going to be class number 4. These are early spring bull calves. We have within this class entries 4866 from Jungle's Shorthorn Farm of Catherine, North Dakota. 4863 from Paint Valley Farms of Millersburg, Ohio. 4864 from Vogel Shorthorn Farms of Rogers, North Dakota. 4865 comes from Adeline Vaughn of Maxwell, Iowa. And 4867 comes from Brenstall Farms of Butler, Ohio. These are your entries that make up class number 4. First place and 2nd place within class number 4 become your champion and reserve champion early spring bull calves. Your champion summer Angus heifer calf comes from our class 18, 3105 from Hayden Riley Hahn of Rocky Ridge, Maryland. In consideration now, we'll move in 2nd place from class 18. That is going to be entry 3102 from Madison Fisher. Your reserve summer heifer calf comes from that exact same class 18. That is going to be entry 3102 from Madison Fisher of Hempstead, Texas. We'll now reset our Angus show ring and we'll move into class number 19. This will be an all-new division. This will be our junior heifer calf division number 1. Class 19 will have multiple entries. Within class 19, we have entries 3109 from Ella Brooks of Prospect Town, Illinois. 3110 comes from Rocking W. Angus of Waterford, California. 3113 comes from Madeline Norvell of Tuttle, Oklahoma. 3114 comes from Mercedes Ferry of Sullivan, Indiana. 3115 comes from Daniel Young of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. 3120 comes from Hunter Shoemaker of Waynesville, Ohio. And rounding out our class is entry 3122 from Kelsey Ray Thies of Leavenworth, Kansas. Those are your entries that will make up class 19 of your Angus ROV show.
In our Shorthorn ring, I think we have 3 excellent bulls in our March and April class that we have here at a couple no-shows, but I think certainly a worthy bull that leads this off. Here's easily the heaviest muscle to this set of bulls. I think you get to study him through his top. He's got a tremendous amount of muscle through his top and down through his hind end. I think when you watch the calf move, he reaches out and goes very, very well. I'd like to maybe square him just a little bit on his front. He wants to toe out just a little bit there. But when you get him going, he's plenty sound enough. And a bull, I like the profile and the pattern that he presents a great deal. The young lady's calf here in second, another nice balance, good eye appeal, well balanced kind of a bull. Not quite as stout as the bull ahead of him. Bull that doesn't handle his rear leg quite as well. Kind of wants to get a little straighter from his hock down and doesn't have quite as much red meat and muscle working in him today. Certainly a nice heavy structured bull that comes here in third. He is a little bigger skeleton bull, a little more frame size to him, but in accordance to that, he needs to have a little more muscle to go along with that. 3 nice bulls.
Your results for class number 4 of your Shorthorn Purebred Bull Show. Third place, 4867 from Bristol Farms of Butler, Ohio. Second place, your reserve champion early spring bull is going to be entry 4866 from Jungle's Shorthorn Farm of Catherine, North Dakota. Your class winner and your champion early spring bull calf, entry 4863 from Paint Valley Farms of Millersburg, Ohio. Up next in our program is class number 7. These are junior bull calves. This is the only class number 7 in the division. We have entries 4871 from Dominic Famaro and Dale Studer family. We have entry 4874 from Paint Valley Farms, 4873 from Bryn Jordan, and 4875 from Agerter Cattle Company. These are the entries that make up class number 7. Your results coming in for class number 19 on your Angus ROV show. 6th place, 3120 from Hunter Shoemaker. 5th place, 3122 from Kelsey Ray Thies. 4th place, 3115 from Daniel Young. 3rd place, 3110 from Rocking W. Angus. 2nd place, 3109 from Ella Brooks. And your class winner, 3114, comes from Mercedes Ferry of Sullivan, Indiana. Coming in the ring now is class number 20. Class 20 consists of entries 3123 from Lane Toledo, 3124 from Fallon Gore, 3127 from Brenna Leanne Bartlow, 3187 from Tyler Nost, 3129 from Keegan Caroline Mather, 3131 comes from Claire Ann Mernon, and 3135 comes from Allie Perry. These are the entries that will make up class number 20.
Here in the Shorthorn ring, I think one of the tougher classes to sort. There's an old song about you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. And I think that's kind of what happens in here. We're giving up some pounds to start with the bull that we are, but he's not small. He's big enough. He's sounder. He's better balanced. He's better, more eye appeal. You get him out here on the move. He's more structurally correct. He doesn't have as much muscle as the bull in second. And the bull in second is the bull that's a problem for me because there's a lot of things I like about this calf. But I think when you put the complete package together, overall, even though we're giving up a little bit of pounds in performance, I think this bull's big enough to lead with. We get into our second prize bull. Here's the rugged, stout, heavy muscled calf, but just doesn't blend quite as nicely. He's not as nice through his shoulder. He's not comes out quite as nice when he hooks to his pins. And I'm not going to pick on the bull because he gets out, travels remarkably well. for the way he's kind of made. He kind of gets his top up just a little bit. I'd like to hinge him and flex him a little better off his hock. I just want to change the way he balances out just a little bit. Same way for the young lady's calf here that comes here in third. He gets a little base narrow as you get to studying. He doesn't have as much muscle as the bull in front of him, but certainly another real useful kind of a bull. And then a bull that I think is just really green in its design. There really isn't any number differences, significant numbers across these bulls, but here's just a bull I'd just like to spread him apart, give him a touch more rib and a little more muscle as you get going. Tough class of bulls.
Your results coming in for class number 7 on your Shorthorn show. 4th place, 48.71 from Dominic Famaro and Dale Studer. 3rd place, 48.73 comes from Brian Jordan. 2nd place and your reserve champion junior bull calf is entry 48.75 from Agerter Cattle Company. And your class winner and your champion junior bull calf is entry 48.74 from Paint Valley Farms. We will now move over into our next class, which is class 10. This is a new division. This is our summer yearling bulls. We have a single entry in class 10. Entry 48.77 from Steel Hill Ranch of Minto, North Dakota. This is the only class within the division. Therefore, first place within class number 10 will become your champion intermediate bull.
Just a single entry for our intermediate champion, a bull that reads pretty nicely on his numbers, though certainly a low birth weight kind of a bull. Bull that's really strong and he's top line, big testicle bull. Probably like to change him just a bit through his shoulder, set him down just a little straighter and truer on his front end. Nice calf.
Your results from class number 10 of intermediate champion bulls. 48.77 Steel Hill Ranch takes the division. Up next will be class 13. This will be our junior yearling bull category. We have entries 48.78 from Tate Luth and Emily Check, and 48.79 from Lost Diamond B Ranch and Sully Shorthorns. Your results coming out of class number 20 on your Angus show. 5th place, 31-23 from Lane Toledo. 4th place, 31-31 from Claire Ann Mernon. 3rd place, 31-87 from Tyler Notst. 2nd place, 31-24 from Fallon Gore. And your class winner, 31-35 from Allie Perry. Making their way into your Angus show ring now is Class 21. Class 21 consists of entries 31-38 from Connor Cook of Huntley, Montana. 31-39 comes from Julie Gillette of Roy, Montana. 31-44 from Kelly Ann Gaffney of Barnveld, Wisconsin. 31-45 comes from Pfeiffer Rosenberger of Hayden, Idaho. 31-47 comes from Lane Toledo from California. And entry 31-48 from Hayden Hoffman of Thedford, Nebraska. That completes Class 21.
Shorthorn ring, we've got two nice big bulls, and I appreciate the work it takes to get these big bulls here. I think as you analyze the pair, really a nice pair of bulls, a lot of good in both of them. For me, it boils down to bull that to me is just a little nicer balance, a little more smoothness. I think when you get him on the move, structurally he's a little more desirable. I think he's a little leaner compositionally than the bull in second. Both of the bulls have extremely good numbers on a birth weight basis, and I appreciate that about them. I think as you study the bull as he goes out, fills his track pretty well. Young lady's bull here in second. Massive, massive, deep, big-bodied, high-capacity bull. Just a little shorter ribbed, a little shorter sided. Probably not handle his feet and legs quite as well, but still he'll be this big and handle things pretty well. He's a calf that does have a fair amount of muscle to him. Good pair of bulls.
Your results for Class 13, 2nd place, and your reserve champion junior bull is entry 48-78 from Tate Luth and Emily Check. Your champion junior bull, 1st place within Class 13, is entry 48-79 from Lost Diamond B Ranch and Sully Shorthorns. In your Shorthorn show, we move on to Class 16. Class 16 is a new division. These are 2-year-old bulls. We have a single entry within Class 16. This is entry 48-81. This comes via way of Wise Shorthorns and Studer Shorthorns.
Last bull we've had in the show here, and we haven't had a lot of numbers, but certainly we've had a lot of quality. And I think that speaks very highly for the breeders. I think when you bring out the numbers we had, not a lot of numbers, but certainly when you look at each of the calf divisions we've had, I think you're going to have a nice champion lineup, and this bull fit right in there. A good, big, stout 2-year-old bull that I like the way he moves. I like the way he presents himself through his top and out through his hip. Nice bull. Thank you.
Your results for Class 16 and your champion senior bull is entry 48-81 from Wise Shorthorns of Bethany, Illinois, and Studer Shorthorns of Creston, Iowa. At this time, we will now bring in our division winners for our purebred Shorthorn bulls. Our judge, Dr. Dave Nichols, will select your grand champion and reserve grand champion Shorthorn bulls. Your results for Class 21 in your Angus show. 6th place, 31:39 from Julia Gillette. 5th place, 31:45 from Pfeiffer Rosenberger. 4th place, 31:44 comes from Kelly Ann Gaffney. 3rd place, 31:47 from Lane Toledo. 2nd place, 31:38 comes from Connor Cook. And your class winner, 31:48 from Hayden Hoffman. In the ring at this time for your Angus show will be Class 22. Class 22 will have entries 31:50 from Riley Ann Green of Hardin, Montana. 31:51 comes from Neela Bemoles of Janesville, Wisconsin. 31:70 from Daniel Young of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. 31:57 from Hannah Harrison of Montague, California. 31:34 from Kay Bardee of Redmond, Oregon. 31:59 from Scarlett Carney of Carbondale, Colorado. 31:60 from Allison Friesen of Arnett, Oklahoma. And 31:61 from Michael Voloshin of Craig, Colorado. This is the entries for Class 22. This is the last class within our Junior Heifer Calf Division, number 1.
Well, I think we've had a wonderful Shorthorn Bull show. Again, not a lot of numbers, but a lot of quality. And again, it's my honor to be asked to do this. It's a little intimidating when some of my old heroes and professors are in the stands watching. It makes it a little tough. I'm very honored to get asked to do this. I have a great deal of gratitude for this opportunity. The bulls that we have out here, I've already talked to them in division, so I'm not going to redo that. But I think you can be very, very proud of the Shorthorn breed. I appreciate the numbers you've given me. One of the things I will say, these numbers are very, very good. And I think we've eliminated some of the birth weight issues in our country. It's awful hard to sell high birth weight bulls, and I compliment you breeders for all you've done. Certainly, it's been an honor. I appreciate the breeders. I appreciate the amount of work that goes into. We're looking forward to a great female show. Let's give these Shorthorn exhibitors a good hand. We'll pick our champions.
Your grand champion Shorthorn bull comes from your senior division. That is entry 4881 from Wise Shorthorns and Studer Shorthorns. Your reserve grand champion Shorthorn bull comes from your second division, which is your early spring bull calf champion. That is entry 4863 from Paint Valley Farms. Congratulations to our Shorthorn bull exhibitors on their grand champion and reserve grand champion. Within our Shorthorn show, we will now take a pause for pictures at the backdrop. Our judge, Dr. Dale Nichols, will make his way down there. Don't forget the official livestock photographers at this year's 2025 National Western is Legacy Livestock Imaging. No cell phones are allowed at the backdrop. Please allow Heidi and her crew to be the ones who are taking the best possible photos of our champions. Your results for Class 22 of your Angus ROV show: 8th place, 3150 from Riley Ann Green. 7th place, 3151 from Neela Babols. 6th place, 3134 from K Bar D. 5th place, 3159 from Scarlett Carney. 4th place, 3157 from Hannah Harrison. 3rd place, 3170 from Daniel Young. 2nd place, 3161 from Michael Voloshin. And your class winner, 3160 from Allison Friesen. At this time now, we will bring back our class winners from classes 19, 20, 21, and 22. Our judge will select our champion and reserve champion junior heifer calves for division number 1. Your champion junior heifer calf for Division 1 comes out of Class 22. That is entry 3160 from Allison Friesen. We will now move the 2nd place from Class 22 into the next position. Our judge, Jake Scott, will now select your reserve champion junior heifer calf. Your reserve junior heifer calf for Division 1 comes out of Class 21. That is entry 3148 from Hayden Hoffman. Making their way into the ring is now Class 23. Class 23 of our Angus ROV show consists of entries 3163 from Jace Dickerson of Paradise, Kansas. 3166 comes from Daniel Young of Scottsbluff, Nebraska. 3167 from Keegan Caroline Mather of State Center, Iowa. 3172 from Riley Ann Green of Hardin, Montana. 3173 from Jack Gillette of Roy, Montana. 3175 rounds out our class from Tyler Kraft of Fort Collins, Colorado. These are entries that are slated to make up Class 23. We welcome everybody back over to our Shorthorn show ring, which is our southern show ring. We have now in the ring class number 1 of late spring heifer calves. These are our purebred females. We have entry 4891 from Alden Vaughn of Maxwell, Iowa, and 4892 from Brock Ruby of Howells, Nebraska. These are the 2 entries that make up class number 1 of our purebred female show.
Over in our Shorthorn ring, we've got two really nice females to start this off, a July and a June female. I think really a nice pair. I'm going to start with the boys heifer here in front. She's just a little nicer structurally. She's sounder on her feet and legs. She sets up square. You know, it's hard on these little heifers to get them to lead. And one thing I appreciate today is the number of young exhibitors that are out here in the open show, and that means a lot to me. You could get some professional fitter out here sticking them, but I think it's great this young man's doing it. Here's a calf that gets out and goes. I'd like to see a little more to her, but she'll get that over time. The heifer that comes here in second gets on the upper end on birth weight number, and she's also just a little straighter off the rear hock. Kind of hits the ground a little tougher when you get behind her, but nice pair on these boys.
Your results for Class 1 on your Shorthorn show. Second place entry 4892 from Brock Ruby. First place goes to entry 4891 from Alden Vaughn. Up next within our Shorthorn show, we will bring in Class number 2 of late spring heifer calves. We'll have two entries in Class number 2, 4890 from Brigham DeBoard of Bardwell, Texas, and 4895 from Elia Beach of Palmyra, Nebraska. Your results for Class 23 in your Angus ROV show. Fifth place, 3173 from Jack Gillette. Fourth place, 3167 from Keegan Mather. Third place, 3166 from Daniel Young. Second place, 3175 from Tyler Kraft. And your class winner, 3163 from Jace Dickerson. Up next in the ring at this time for your Angus show is Class 24. Class 24 is our last class within the division of junior heifer calves for Division 2. We have entries 3178 from Claire Ann Mernon. 3181 comes from Pfeiffer Rosenberger. 3182 from Paige Gonzalez. 3184 from Ashton Dillow. 3186 from Katie Collison. 3188 also from Katie Collison. And 3189 from Blair Heath. These are the entries that will make up Class 24 of your Angus ROV show.
Over in our Shorthorn ring, another nice pair of females, and I'm going to leave them stand like they are as they came in. It's a close decision. Two high-quality females, no major faults in either one. I think if you get the heifer in front, there's just a little more performance and power to her. There's a little more rib to her, perhaps a little more muscle shape. She comes out her hip just a little nicer. The one that we have here in second, perhaps a little prettier fronted kind of a female. Out here today, to me, she wants to lower her pins just a bit. A little lower behind from hooks to pins, and not quite as nice when we get her on the move. Not quite as much performance, but a nice pair of females. We got champion, we got division.
Your results for Class 2 of your late spring heifers. Second place, 4895 from Elia Beach. First place, 4890 from Brigham DeBoard. At this time, within our Shorthorn show, we will have our judge, Dr. Dale Nichols, select your champion and reserve champion late spring heifer calves. We will have our first place and second place entries come back from classes 1 and 2.
Over here in the Shorthorn ring, as heifers kind of wanting to move around a bit, they've been up a bit, and I think it's pretty easy and pretty logical that we're going to use those two heifers out of the last class. Nice set of Shorthorn females. They look great for this stage of the game. I think the femininity and the future you see, the profile of both these heifers, particularly this heifer that wins this calf division, I like a great deal. Nice heifer to come in behind her. Congratulations.
In your Shorthorn show, your champion late spring heifer calf comes out of Class 2. That is entry 4890 from Brigham DeBoard. Your reserve champion also comes from Class 2. That is entry 4895 from Elia Beach. Your results for Class 24. Fifth place, 3178 from Claire Mernon. Fourth place, 3181 from Pfeiffer Rosenberger. Third place, 3189 from Blair Heath. Second place, 3186 from Katie Collison. And your class winner was entry 3188 from Katie Collison. At this time, within our Angus show, we will bring back our class winners. From classes 23 and 24, our judge will now select your champion and reserve champion junior heifers for division number 2.
Over here in the Shorthorn ring, we got to get Over here in the Shorthorn ring, I really focus on this first heifer. She's pretty good. I think as you analyze them and put them together, I don't have a lot of things to say that I don't like about this heifer. I think as you study her in terms of her rib shape, the way she's put together in her feet and legs, the amount of muscle she has, to me, just a beautiful kind of a female, and kind of looks the part for the age that she has. Not too heavy condition. Numbers are good. Here's a female I really like when she comes in here. Little gal, let's give this young lady a good hand for hanging with it, because she's got a few tears in her eyes. But you'll make it. You're doing good. She's got a nice heifer. She doesn't quite have quite as much mass and muscle and stoutness as the heifer that beat her, but she's pretty good. She's a nice profile female that's long and level out her rump, and when she gets out in motion, you sure like that about her. I like that about her versus the heifer in 3. The heifer in 3 I like a great deal. She's one of the longer-sided, longer rib heifers we've had today, where her problem is she wants to round out through her rump just a little bit. She's low in her pin set, kind of gets those hind legs underneath her, and that kind of detracts a little bit from her when she gets on the move, but another real high-quality female. 3 nice heifers.
Now over on the
Your champion junior heifer calf for Division 2 for your Angus show comes from class number 24. That is entry 3188 from Katie Collison. Your reserve junior heifer calf for Division 2 comes also from class number 24. That is the second place entry 3186 from Katie Collison of Lake City, Iowa. Within our Angus show, we will pause momentarily for a break while our judge makes his way to the facilities. We'll get continued on with our Shorthorn show at this time. In the ring is class number 6. Class number 6 is early spring heifer calves. We have in this class 4900 from Vogel Shorthorn Farms and Amelia Abram, 4902 from Julia Lyons, 4945 from Paige Parker, 4903 comes from Alexa Turner, 4905 comes from JC Stutzman, and 4906 comes from Hadley Kirst. These are the entries that will make up your class number 6 on your Shorthorn side. Results for class number 5 of the class that was previously in your Shorthorn ring. Third place went to 4897 from Kinsley White. Second place went to entry 4896 from Aisley Beach. And 4898 was your class winner from Colton Greenhorn. we'll continue on with our Angus ROV show. Moving in the ring now is Class 25. Class 25 has a single entry, 3191 from Samantha Prouty of Corning, California. The results for Class 25 on your Angus show. First place, 3191 from Samantha Prouty. Coming in the ring this time is now Class 26. Class 26 has entries 3193 from Briggs Krause of Belgrade, Nebraska. 3194 from Brielle Gonzalez of Pemberton, Minnesota. 3195 from David Smith of Boulder, Colorado. And 3198 from Ella Brooks of Prophettown, Illinois. Those are your entries that make up Class 26.
Over here in the Shorthorn ring, good ones just keep coming. A comment about the last class winner, and well, here's another great one. Young lady, you've got a nice female. Female that really balances up extremely well. Beautiful pattern and profile to this heifer. I think a heifer that looks like a heifer calf, looks like to me at the stage that she's at, how she should look. She's extremely long out her hip, very nice and level through her rump. Love the way she puts her hind leg down. Really a nice heifer to lead this off. The heifer in second gives up some pounds to the heifer behind her, but she's the most like the heifer I start with. She doesn't have to be the deepest. She's got plenty to her. To me, she's very feminine, very clean cut, very straight in her lines. I like the length to her front end. I like the slope to her shoulder a tad bit better than I do the third place heifer. Here's a heifer that's got the rib in the body. She's a big, broody, big ribbed heifer that stands out very wide, got a lot of meat and muscle to her. The muscular heifer in the class is the white heifer, and I'm really not sure what to do with the white heifer. I like the white heifer a lot. We haven't probably seen one that had that much muscle to her, and if you want to make them heavier muscled, this is what you'd want to use. Now, she's got a little more birth weight on the sheet than some of the other heifers in the class, but I really like your heifer, young lady. She probably, with that extra muscle, doesn't have quite as pattern and profile the heifers above her. We get into the white heifer behind her. She's a heifer that, to me, is just a little more pinched in her heart. She's a little narrower, and she gets right there, right behind her front legs, and just a heifer that, from front to back, just runs a little narrower. And then we wind up the class with an extremely straight line, very pretty heifer, very feminine, very long-fronted heifer, just not quite as much to her. But up the road, she's going to make a heck of a nice female. So nice class of heifers.
Your results coming in for Class 26 of your Angus show: third place, entry 3194 from Bree Gonzalez. Second place, 3193 from Briggs Krause. And your class winner, entry 3198 from Ella Brooks. Now making their way into the ring for your Angus show is Class 27. Class 27 includes entries 3202 from Seth Cox, 3203 from Tyler Kraft, 3204 from Addison Krause, 3205 from Lazy JB Angus, 3206 comes from Cooper Mernon, 3208 comes from Oakland Plamp, and 3210 comes from Chloe Boitnott. Over in your Shorthorn ring at this time is now class number 7. These are early spring heifer calves. We have in class number 7 entries 4907 from Kaysen Carlson. 4909 comes from Brock Studer. 4910 comes from Sarah Allard. 4911 comes from Lane Meek. 4913 comes from Donovan West. And 4914 comes from the Beach Family Shorthorns. Results from class number 6 on your Shorthorns. Sixth place went to 4945 from Paige Parker. Fifth place was 4900 from Vogel Shorthorn Farms and Amelia Abram. Fourth place was entry 4902 from Julia Lyons. Third place was entry 4906 from Hadley Kirst. Second place was 4905 from J.C. Stutzman. And your class winner for 6 was entry 4903 from Alexa Turner. While our judges continue to evaluate our classes in the ring, I want to make sure that everyone knows that you are invited. There will be a stadium arena celebration on January 19th, which is Sunday evening at 5 p.m. We're going to take the time to celebrate this historic arena because it's been crowning champions since 1909. You can join us in celebrating the stadium arena, a tribute to the champion livestock, dedicated exhibitors, and a rich history of excellence. There will be beer, cocktails, raffles, food, live music by the Eric Golden Band. It's all presented by Honor Show, the National Western Stock Show presented by Common Spirit Health, and Trans Ova Genetics. We appreciate everyone, And like I said, you are all invited January 19th at 5 p.m.
In our Shorthorn class, March females, really another nice set of heifers top to bottom. I guess to me, the red heifer kind of came to the top with the combination of the muscle, the volume, the capacity she had. Not the easiest moving heifer, but I think adequate in her movement. I think when you study her, she's just got some capacity and rib and volume and capacity. I really like that about the heifer. Might want to give her just a little more slope to her front end. Really a functional female in second, I like a great deal. She's a little flatter when you get behind her, not quite as much muscle as the heifer just above her. Certainly the heifer in third's kind of a challenge to know what to do. She's exceptionally long, and I like that about her. She's exceptionally long and almost takes away from her depth. She's probably deeper than she appears when you got them that long. She is sounder than the heifer behind her. I like that about her. She gets out and reaches off of both ends. I like the young lady's heifer in terms of rib and spring of rib and the amount of front end. When you get right in front of her where she stands and the width that she has from back front to rear, the problem she gets into, she's not quite as nice on the move, kind of wants to drop her pins and get her hind legs underneath her. Then we get into a heifer that to me just doesn't balance quite as well, doesn't move, kind of drives those hind legs into the handbark just a little harder than I'd like to have, but really another nice set of females. Hands together for this division. A tremendous set of Shorthorn females in this group. These folks have done a nice job. I think when you study the class winners that we have out here, 3 outstanding females. They're different, different types a little bit, but I think as you analyze the females and what they have to offer, I like the fact they still look like young calves. I like the fact that they've got a lot of soundness to them, and certainly very, very feminine. To me, it's very, very close. We will use our class winners. I think that's the close decision. Young lady's heifer in front of me will be our champion. Young man's heifer over here will be our reserve.
Your champion early spring heifer calf for your Shorthorns comes out of class number 5. That is entry 4898 from class number 6 is entry 4903 from Alexa Turner. Your reserve comes from class number 5. That is entry 4898 from Colton Greenhorn. Congratulations to our champion and reserve champions. Now moving into the ring for your Shorthorn show, we'll move right along to class number 10. Class number 10 will have 2 entries, 4947 from Annalyn Beach and 4917 from Colton Greenhorn. Your champion senior heifer calf comes from class number 27. That is entry 3204 from Addison Krause. Your reserve champion comes from class 26. That is entry 3198 from Ella Brooks.
Just 2 head of these February heifers that we have over here, and I'm going to use the boy's heifer here in the back to win this. I think if you look at the female, to me she moderates frame just a bit. I think that she's plenty big. It's not that she's a little heifer by any means, but she moderates frame just a bit. I think she's also perhaps a little nicer on her hind legs. She's got more stability to her hock. When she moves, she handles her rear leg just a little nicer. Certainly the young lady's heifer that is will be second is extremely long-bodied, extremely long-ribbed, long from her hooks to her pins. I'd like to change just the way she comes off her rear legs just a bit. Pair of nice heifers.
Your results for class number 10 of your junior heifers on your Shorthorn Southern Show Ring. Second place, 4947 from Annalyn Beach. Your class winner, 4917 from Colton Greenhorn. In the ring at this time for your Shorthorns is going to be Class 11. Your results for Class 29 in your Angus show. First place, entry 3219 from Hayden Riley Hahn of Rocky Ridge, Maryland. Within our Angus show, we will bring up Class 30. Class 30 consists of entries 3221 from Scarlett Carney, 3222 from Lane Toledo. Those are your two entries that will make up Class 30 on your Angus show. In your Shorthorn show ring is Class 11 of junior heifer calves. Within class number 11, we have entries 4919 from Peakview Ranch, 4921 from Bryn Jordan, and 4923 from Callie Turner. These are the entries that will make up your Class 11 of junior heifer calves.
Over in our Shorthorn ring, we come kind of a challenging class just because we kind of have different types. I think if you look at the heifer, and the more I study them, I've tried to preach on movement and feet and legs today, and when you do that, the heifer that easily travels the best and fills her track, has the most flex off of both ends, is the young lady's heifer that starts this. Now, I'd like to make her a little wider base. I'd like to spring her rib just a bit. She kind of gets a little pinched in her heart, but certainly a nice balanced female, nice profiling female, but just like to widen her out just a little bit. I really like that part of the heifer in second. The heifer in second wants to roll her hocks just a bit. She's a little shorter in her makeup, but she does have some of that extra capacity we talk about in the extra rib. And the young lady's got a really nice heifer here in 3, and it may just be today, but when this heifer goes, she kind of wants to knuckle over on those back legs, back on the pasture, and she kind of wants to pop that over, kind of detracts from her appearance and kind of affects her soundness just a bit. And when she gets her parked, there's a really nice heifer. Just want to change that bit about her on her hind leg to move her up any higher. Nice head of heifers.
Your results for Class 30 in your Angus show. Second place, 3221 from Scarlett Carney. First place, 3222 from Lane Toledo. We'll move right along into class number 31 within our Angus show. Class 31 will consist of entries 3223 from Kelly Ann Gaffney. 3226 comes from Lakeview Angus. 3228 will be from Spencer Allen Wright. 3229 will come from Callie Flood. 3230 will come from McKenna Galloway. And 3231 will come from Adeline Lee. Class 31 is our last class within our division of intermediates. So upon the conclusion of Class 31, our judge will select your champion and reserve champions.
Picking our senior heifer calf champion over here, junior heifer calf champion, I think it's real easy. For that, to me, fits the mold in terms of moderation and soundness and eye appeal, profile and balance that we have. The boys heifer that comes out of our first class. I think if you get to our second, then to bring her in and let's pull her around, I think it gets a little tighter and a little closer here. I think when you get to looking at the heifer that we have, these two heifers are kind of alike. Again, both of them I'd like to have a little more rib and volume too, but I'm going to go back to the second in that class for the same one, the same class as our first place at one. Congratulations.
Your champion junior heifer calf is entry 4917, coming out of class number 10. That is from Colton Greenhorn of Bellbrook, Ohio. The reserve champion junior heifer calf comes from class 10 as well. The second place entry 4947 from Annalyn Beach. Up next, we will move right into class number 14 within our Shorthorn show. This is going to be winter heifer calves. We have a single entry within class number 14. Entry 4925 from Adeline Vaughn of Maxwell, Iowa.
Over in our Shorthorn ring, we just have the one heifer, and judges say it all the time. Here's a heifer that could stand a lot of competition, and this one can. What's impressed me about the heifers I've seen today, for you Shorthorn breeders, you can surely take pride in females that look like females, females that look like cows. And I think when you can do that with a female like this, be awful proud of this one. The young lady's got a nice heifer I like a great deal.
Your results for Class 14 on your Shorthorn show of winter heifer calves. First place entry 4925 from Adeline Vaughn. Up next will be Class 15. This will be senior heifer calves. Within this class, we'll have entry 4927 from Ava Stutzman of Milford, Nebraska. 4928 from Vogel Shorthorn Farms of Rogers, North Dakota. These are the two entries that will make up class number 15. Class 15 is our last class within our senior heifer calf division.
in the Shorthorn ring, another nice pair of females, and we're going to leave them the way they're standing. This young lady gets this heifer's head up, makes her look quite a bit better. Both heifers, I think, are similar in the strengths and weaknesses. I guess I analyze the heifers just having a little more mass and muscle and stoutness and rib that we're going to lead off with. She's blends together a little nicer in her neck shoulder junction. That's where the heifer in second kind of gets beat just a little bit. She's not quite as eye appealing from the side. Certainly a big body, big brooded female as well. But I just like the balance and the eye appeal we get on this heifer. Good heifer here that moves pretty well off the front end. I like the way she sits down real true and square off of both ends. Nice pair of females.
Your results for Class 15 on your Shorthorn Senior Heifers. Second place, 49.28 from Vogel Shorthorn Farms. First place, 49.27 from Ava Stutzman. At this time, within our Shorthorn show, we will bring back our class winners from 14 and 15. Our judge, Mr. Dr. Dave Nichols, will select your champion and reserve champion senior heifer calves.
We get in this division, I think we really have two nice females. And again, I compliment these kids and breeders for the quality we've had. We haven't seen really a bad heifer all day, and that's a little unusual at these shows. It shows a lot of quality that these people have brought, and I appreciate that a great deal. I've been impressed top to bottom with the heifers that we've seen in this show. I think when you get to this pair, both of them very functional females. For me, what we to put together and talked about in terms of balance and eye appeal and stoutness, we need to use the spotted heifer to come up to win this. We'll come back to the heifer behind it, be reserved. Congratulations, girls.
Your champion senior Shorthorn heifer comes out of Class 14. That is entry 49.25 from Adeline Vaughn. The reserve being from Class 15, 49.27 from Ava Stutzman.
got a single entry in our Shorthorn class, but she's sure a good one. I think when you analyze this female and talk about the things we've talked about in terms of movement and soundness and rib and balance and eye appeal, putting the feet down, flexing off of both ends, this heifer does a great job of that. Congratulations.
Your results for Class 18 on your Shorthorn show ring. First place entry 4930 from Alexa Turner. Making their way into the ring for our Shorthorn show will be Class 19. Class 19 will be late spring yearling females. We'll have entries 4932 from Vidalia Kimball, 4933 from Colton Greenhorn, 4934 from Curtis Genetics, 4935 comes from Kylie Dustle, and 4936 from Lane Blankenship. Those will be your entries for Class 19 on your Shorthorn Shorthorn show. Over here for your Angus show, your results coming out of Class 31. Sixth place, 3230 from McKenna Galloway. Fifth place, 3231 from Adeline Lee. Fourth place was 3226 from Lakeview Angus. Third place, 3229 from Callie Flood. Second place, 3223 from Kelly Ann Gaffney. And your class winner was entry 3228 from Spencer Wright. In the ring at this time for your Angus show is going to be your class winners. And our judge will select your champion and champion and reserve intermediate heifers. These are the first and second place winners from classes 29, 30, and 31. Your champion intermediate heifer comes from class 31. That is entry 3228 from Spencer Wright. Your reserve champion intermediate heifer is going to come from class 30. That is entry 3222 from Lane Toledo. Up next in your Angus show ring is going to be class 32. Class 32 consists of entries 3233 from Cooper Miller, 3234 from Parker Rosenberger, 3236 from Jace Dickerson, 3239 from Rory Peterson, 3241 from Chloe Boitnott, and 3243 from Parker Chestnut. make a correction on my announcements before. Your champion intermediate heifer was 32.28 from Spencer Wright, and the reserve intermediate also came from that exact same class, 32.23 from Kelly and Gaffney.
Another extremely high quality shorthorn set of females. I think these are mays that we have out here. I like the moderation that we see on the heifer that comes to the top. She paints a beautiful picture straight through her top line, comes out nice through her hip and through her rump. Tremendous amount of mass and volume to her. If I were to change her, she tends to get out just a little bit to her shoulder, but she's got a tremendous amount of bulk and volume and rib to her. The heifer that's the most like her is the heifer just behind her. She's not as pretty through her neck and through her shoulder, doesn't blend quite as well, but she's one that reaches very well off of both ends and has more flexibility, more flex in her stride. I appreciate that about her. Get to another heifer coming back in third, I like a great deal. She's a little frailer featured, not quite as much muscle working in her as the two heifers above her, but certainly a real high volume, high capacity heifer I like a great deal. Then we get into a pair of big heifers. The young lady, to me, needs to be a little wider base. She's a little more pinched in her heart, but here's an extremely long-bodied, high-quality heifer. I'd like to see her come off just a little easier and freer off those hind legs. Now, extremely amount of mass and volume in this spotted heifer, and I like that about her, but she needs to be changed in her front end. She's got her feet kind of set out, her corners, her shoulders not quite made quite right about that, but certainly a nice set of females in those mays.
Your results for Class 19 of your late spring Shorthorn yearling females. Fifth place, 49.35 from Kylie Dustall. Fourth place, 49.32 from Vidalia Kimball. Third place, 49.34 from Curtis Genetics. Second place, 49.36 from Lane Blankenship. And your class winner, 49.33 from Colton Greenhorn. In the ring at this time now is our class winners from 18 and 19. Our judge will select your champion and reserve champion intermediate females.
over in our Shorthorn ring. I think this may be one of the closer decisions I've had today. I think these two class winners are exceptional. I think exceptional females that are just extremely well presented, tremendous amount of eye appeal and balance and correctness to them. It's extremely close. I guess I like the extra volume and bulk that we see in the heifer that the boys got. We'll come back with reserve to the heifer up here.
Your champion intermediate female comes from class 19, that is entry 4933, from Colton Greenhorn. The reserve being from class 18, that is entry 4930, from Alexa Turner. Up next for your Shorthorns will be class 22. Class 22 is early spring yearling females. This is the only class within its division. So first and second within this class will become your champion and reserve champion early spring females. Within class 22, we have entries 4937 from Sarah Allard, 4938 from Gabriella Leone, 4939 from Paisley White, 4942 from Eisenhower Cattle Company, and 4943 from Alexa Turner. These are your entries that will make up class 22. Your results for Class 32 on your Angus show. 6th place, 32-34, comes from Parker Rosenberger. 5th place, 32-39, from Rory Peterson. 4th place, 32-33, from Cooper Miller. 3rd place, 32-36, from Jace Dickerson. 2nd place, 32-41, from Chloe Boitnott. And your class winner is entry 32-43 from Parker Chestnut. Making their way into our show ring will be Class 33 on our Angus side. Class 33 will consist of entries 32-47 from Brenna Leanne Bartlow, 32-50 from Sloan Curtin, 32-53 from Jace Dickerson, 32-54 from K Bar D, 32-55 from Caitlin Poser, and entry 32-58 from Kimberly Gray. Those are the entries that will make up Class 33 of your Angus show.
Another nice set of females in the Shorthorn ring, and gosh, I've had fun evaluating these today. And again, it's just one guy's opinion on one day, and I kind of have the advantage because I'm in the Angus business, so I don't know a whole lot about where, what, and who in this side, so it's a fair evaluation. And I like this heifer a great deal. I think if you study her, she's kind of put all the parts together. She's got a beautiful front end on her, comes out through her back, up through her rump, plenty of muscle. And when you get her out here on the move, you really like her. Here's a nice female to come to the top of this class. A little bit different design, kind of a female in second. She's not near as deep as the heifer that comes to the top. She's extremely long. Heifer's a little shallow in her hoof. She doesn't quite, I don't really like her front feet quite as well, but I like a lot of other things about her in terms of the length that she has and the smoothness that she has to come in that. Now, when we get into this roan heifer, to me, part of the problem is she's wound up a little too tight from a standpoint of trying to get the legs underneath her. Undoubtedly, she has a lot of meat and muscle to her, but I just like to loosen her up and make her go just a little freer. And that's why I made the switch here at the end. Granted, we're giving up a fair amount of size here, but here's a heifer that gets out and goes just a little freer and easier. Big heifer the young lady has today, she's not going well enough for me. She's a little longer toed, kind of comes off those back legs a little differently than I'd like to see, but certainly a nice set of heifers.
Your results for Class 22 in your Shorthorn show. 5th place, 49-37 from Sarah Allard. 4th place, 49-42 from Eisenhower Cattle Company. 3rd place, 49-39 from Paisley White. 2nd place and your reserve champion early spring female is entry 49-38 from Gabriella Leone. And your class winner and your champion early spring female is entry 49-43 from Alexa Turner. In the ring at this time for your Shorthorn show is now Class 25. Class 25 is junior yearling females. We have a single entry 49-44 from Colton Greenhorn.
You know, they tell me this is the last heifer I'm going to see, and I've seen an awful lot of good ones, including this one. Nice heifer the fella has. To me, she has brood cow written on her. As you come out here, just see the femininity she's got about her head and her neck and the length that she has back through her hip. Really a nice heifer to wind up our show.
Your results for Class 25 of your Shorthorn show. 1st place and your champion junior female is entry 49-44 from Colton Greenhorn. At this time, within our Shorthorn show, we will bring back all of our division winners. Our judge, Mr. Dr. Dale Nichols, will select our champion and reserve grand champion Shorthorn females. Your results for Class 33 on your Angus show: fourth place, 32.54 from K Bar D. Third place, 32.58 from Kimberly Gray. Second place, 32.50 from Sloan Curtin. And your class winner, 32.47 from Brenna Leanne Bartlow. Up next for our Angus show will be Class 34. We'll have Class 34 entries: 32.63 from Gunnar Lane Gore, 32.64 from Brenna Leanne Bartlow, 32.66 from Lane Toledo, 32.68 from Suter Clark, and entry 32.71 from Ann Damron. That makes up Class 34. In your Shorthorn ring, we have our Grand Championship drive. Our judge, Dr. Dave Nichols, will be selecting our champions. Your champions from your first division of late spring heifer calves. Your champion, 48.90 from Brigham DeBoard. The reserve being 48.95 from Elia Beach. From your second division of early spring heifer calves, your champion, 49.03 from Alexa Turner. The reserve being 48.98 from Colton Greenhorn. From your third division, which is your junior heifer calf division, your champion, 49.17 from Colton Greenhorn. The reserve being 49.47 from Annalyn Beach. From your fourth division of senior heifer calves, your champions, 49.25 from Adeline Vaughn. The reserve being 49.27 from Ava Stutzman. Your fifth division, which is your intermediate champions, 49.33 from Colton Greenhorn, the reserve being 49.30 from Alexa Turner. Your sixth division of early spring females, your champions, 49.43 from Alexa Turner, the reserve being 49.38 from Gabrielle Leone. And from your seventh division, which is your junior and last division of females, your champion, 49.44 from Colton Greenhorn. These are your division winners. For your judge to select your grand champion and reserve grand champion Shorthorn females.
Well, we come down to the end, and I can't express how much I appreciate this. I really believe that the happiest people in life are the people that do it with lots of gratitude. And I've been very, very lucky and very, very blessed. And I don't know if Roger Hunsley's watching or listening, but I owe a lot to him because I was kind of a green kid from Brookston, Indiana, was on his judging team and was able to go to Kansas State and work with great people like Dave Ames and Bill Abel and so many mentors through the years. Monty Sewells, you're damn lucky to have a guy like Monty to head this up. You know, old friends. I had a birthday the other day, and it's one of those that have a 0 on it. And the older I get, I realize it's about the people, more about the cattle. It's lonely out here in the ring. I'm not going to lie to you. But as you get older, appreciate the people and your friends. Now I'll just quit preaching and I'll go ahead and pick some champions. I really am just extremely pleased with the lineup we got. We didn't have a big show, but man, we had quality. You ought to be excited about the Shorthorn breed. All the way down from our calves up to our senior, they look different, but they should. These calves shouldn't look like the big ones ready to give calf. So I just appreciate all the courtesy and the kindness. I want to thank the American Shorthorn Association. I want to thank National Western. This old barn is going to be torn down, but there's an awful lot of history. There's been a lot of legendary cattle and a lot of legendary cattle men be here. I'm lucky to have judged here 10 different times in this old barn. Thank you so much for having me. Let's give all these folks a big round of applause.
Your grand champion Shorthorn female is your champion intermediate. That is entry 49.33 from Colton Greenhorn. Your reserve grand champion Shorthorn female comes from your 6th division, which is your champion early spring female. Entry 4943 from Alexa Turner. Congratulations to all of our Shorthorn exhibitors. Once again, pictures at the backdrop are available via Legacy Livestock Imaging. We'll now hear from our judge on our Angus side, Mr. Jake Scott.